welcome to our next episode of the HR Insider. Tonight we're going to continue talking about leadership and development, how that impacts your life, and we have a repeat guest today. Bansari Mehta is here to discuss how she motivates employees, how she increases employee retention. If you didn't see our episode before about the board of directors, let's give Bansari a moment to talk about a brief overview of your board of directors and your experiences in life. A short version of it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Beth and Alisha, for having me today. To begin with, yes, I was actually thinking about the boards that I serve on. My day job is I'm a medical practice administrator for retina surgeons in Edmond, Oklahoma. Retina Vitreous Center is what my clinic is called. I manage 3 doctors, 5 locations, and 25 staff members approximately. It's a fulfilling day job, let me tell you that, because I'm a people person. The human interaction is what I thrive off of, and it just is something that is made for me. I am that person who loves interacting with people. Apart from that, I'm also associated with a lot of nonprofits, locally, internationally, nationally. I am on the board of United Nations Association of Oklahoma City. I also serve on Suited for Success, the OU MHA Alumni Advisory Board, Stand Against Racism, and also the Platt College Advisory Board. So those are a few things, apart from the fact that I also mentor. I mentor low-income first-generation minority kids, and I've also done some mentoring at the United Nations headquarters in New York City. So these things do keep me busy, and it just keeps my life enriched and complete, and it's a great country to be in. I am originally from India, and I'm getting to really spread my wings in the United States. I'm very, very thankful, and I'm full of gratitude as well to be here and to be with you guys here talking about something that impacts me highly.
Isn't she fabulous?
Oh my god!
I mean, she's like talks. I'm like, oh my god,
real life superwoman.
Oh,
and we should make her a cake. We need to make her a cake. That would be awesome.
Well, thank you. I actually don't own a cape, so I'll take one.
All right,
sure. Thank
we're
you.
gonna get on that.
You're so impressive, and thank you for coming to the United States and help. You serve on all these boards, and you're impacting lives here, and so we're grateful to have you. Thank you for all that you do, and that you contribute and serve. And
Oklahoma City notices. I mean, Oklahoma City knows this woman. She's got award after award, recognition. I might have stalked you a little bit. Be like, hey, she's getting that. She's awesome. So
thank you guys. Thank you.
I mean, Oklahoma City's so grateful that somebody like you decided to be here.
I am grateful that this country and the state actually and its people accepted me with open arms. I get asked all the time, it's like, what are you doing in Oklahoma?
Right?
What's wrong in
That's a valid
Oklahoma?
question. Like, Oklahoma.
Oh no, this is home. I don't see myself anywhere else. As much as I travel, the Okie in me is not set in stone. You cannot change that. So
one day you'll be like, y'all, we're
we
love Oklahoma. We love it. So my question is leadership. We're talking about leadership today. What experiences have you had that you can share with us that have made you a better leader? Your experiences in jobs that you've done. Of course, we're going to learn more about your mentorship programs that you serve on. But what experiences have made you a better leader?
My life story, and let's just backtrack a little bit. Having grown up in India, both my parents are entrepreneurs in their own right, and they're extremely solid entrepreneurs. So our dinner discussions while growing up were everything about business, were everything about strategy, were everything about leadership, or how to interact with, say, for example, my dad's staff, or my mom would have had certain encounters in a day, she being a businesswoman in her own right. The television was never playing, but the discussions around dinner table were about the books that we would have read. All these big people, Richard Branson, could have been potentially Bill Gates, things like that, So that is the kind of environment that me and my sister we grew up in. And that is what set the foundation for me to take steps as far as being a leader in my own life is concerned. So it started pretty early on. I moved to the United States. I decided that management is for me. I worked for a healthcare consulting agency where I was remotely managing some international clients via Skype, back and forth. So that is where it may have potentially begun as far as the real world job is concerned. I then moved on to working at a hospital where I was a part of clinical drug trials and research, and now I'm back in management because, like I mentioned, management is in my blood, it's in my DNA, and whatever I do, I cannot seem to get rid of management. And my brain actually thinks from a leader perspective. I'm always reading stuff that stimulates my brain, that side of the brain, as far as leadership is concerned, how to be a better individual, how to empower your employees, employee retention, things like that. So I feel strongly about these things because it doesn't matter where we will be 10 years down, well, I take that back, maybe 100 years down the line. We may have all these machines working for us, but the interpersonality, which is the core of any leadership, is never going to go away. Human beings are still going to be around. So I think it's a quality and a trait that's here to stay. Doesn't matter what the future actually dictates.
I know for myself, I would love to hear some real life examples of like what's something that you do to keep your employees motivated, especially via Skype. That's got to be some really good words like "you're awesome" or emojis, or do you throw little random parties, or what is it that you've done in your realm that has made your employees stay motivated? Or are you really scary and they're like, yeah, I don't want to disappoint her?
Well, my current job, actually, I have all my employees around me or within the 50-mile radius of Oklahoma City, if you're not traveling to our faraway satellites, that is. But again, human interaction is what it boils down to. I have realized, or I have actually learned in my experience, that human beings want to be treated with respect. It goes without saying. The problem with leadership, or problem with anybody with a job title behind their name, is they take their job title way too seriously, okay? And they forget the fact that you are interacting with human beings who need the same things, if not more, than what you would need or how you would want to be treated if you were in, say, the roles shifted, for example, or were swapped. So respect is something I have learned is what's going to take you places with your employees. You have to be considerate. You have to ask them questions about things like, oh, how's your family doing? And that has to be a genuine concern. You cannot fake it. You have to be a part of their lives. And it's a mutual relationship, because if you give that respect, you will get that respect back. But don't expect it, because again, that's like you expecting respect just because you have all these credentials and titles behind your name. I strongly believe and feel titles do not make you. It's your character that makes you. And that is what makes a good leader a leader. And this point is worth, it's $100 million worth point. It's like you have to treat human beings like human beings, and not just simply build all these walls around you just because, hey, I make so much money, or hey, I'm being put on a pedestal just because I am at this level in my company.
So it's like human interaction. Sounds like acknowledging
respect,
hey, how
and being
are
genuine.
you?
Correct.
And making sure they know that you know who they are and
absolutely
really appreciate
it. That's the core of it. There's a lot more that actually surrounds these things, and we can definitely touch those as well as we move on in this interview. But I also believe in something called as walking around management. I call it WAM, W-A-M, because you cannot sit in your little office and be a good manager. You have to be out there in the field, right there with the rest of the crew and the crowd, being a part of the team and basically walking the talk. That's another thing that I strongly follow, because I can very well sit in my chair all day and be drinking tea and coffee and be checking my emails and call myself a good manager, but that is not what makes you a good manager.
Right. And we could do a whole nother show on this, and I would love to do this, but kind of defining the difference between a leader and a boss are two different things. There's a difference between being a good leader and a good or bad boss or dictator. They're completely two different things, and I think some people who get caught up in titles,
correct,
don't understand that. So I would love to talk more about that. Maybe that's a future episode. I'm really excited to hear about your mentorship, especially your recent experience you were just sharing with us in New York City. So tell me about that and what you like best about being a mentor.
So mentorship and leadership goes hand in hand. You could be potentially having a bad day, but you cannot let that trickle down to your staff members if it's your day job, or you cannot let it trickle down to your mentees. I take mentorship extremely seriously because I came to this country with nothing. I did not have a phone, I did not have money, I had no family here to help me out, nothing on those lines. So I've had to start from scratch. I started from -100, like I say. So I know what it takes to land that interview. I know what it takes to basically nail that interview. I know how to really, I say that with pride, and I'm being very modest at the same time too when I say that I know, because I have technically lived through these things and I've lived to tell the tale.
There you go.
So I only feel it's important and necessary for me to be able to impact lives, which in my case tends to be the low-income first-generation minority students in the area who really have nobody behind them. They don't know that there are jobs out there other than working your normal job that a normal teenager would work at. With all due respect, what I'm asking them or what I'm expecting of them is like, here you go. This is what the world looks like. I want you to have a broader perspective, a broader vision. Here are the tools, and this is how you can make it happen. So when I'm talking about my mentees, I'm also talking about my staff at the same time too, because I think it's my job as a leader to provide the tools rather than micromanage. So micromanaging does not work with people.
No micromanaging.
No micromanaging. No micromanaging. And a good leader always provides the tools, and all you want is good quality results. That's what you leave it at. How the person gets to it, leave it up to the individual. You also have to know your strengths and weaknesses of your employees too, and of your mentees as well, because you have to work around those strengths and weaknesses. You cannot judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, correct? We've heard that saying. So a good leader always identifies that, takes that, spins it around, works with it, basically makes it happen for the employees. That's what my job is. As far as mentorship goes, I did have a great opportunity to be a peer mentor for all these amazing people from all over the world at United Nations headquarters at the last 2017 Summer Youth Assembly. So what that entailed is I actually worked with them on a socially responsible project, basically for a month, for an exact whole month. We went to the headquarters, we presented that. It was more of like a challenge, a competition. I had two groups. One group was from China. I had 7, I like to call them my kids, but of course they're all grown adults, but I just felt very motherly towards them. So I like to call them my kids, and I'm going to take the benefit of using that term. So I had one group from China, 7 kids from China. Then I had 7 kids from all over the world. Philippines, Australia, Japan, United States, and they were exceptional. These kids are exceptional, and we used to speak via Skype, and we used to work on our projects. That we used to be up at 4 in the morning just so that could potentially be 11 o'clock in Australia at night, things like that. It's one of the best things I have ever done is actually mentor people or mentor kids. But it was an extremely rewarding experience, is how I would like to describe my experience with the United Nations headquarters. And also, of course, locally I do a lot of mentoring too, because I feel strongly about these things.
And you've gotten some fabulous opportunities to be able to develop yourself and to develop others. I mean, that's just really, really impressive. All the different things that you're able to do. So she's definitely got some events coming up. If you guys are interested in following her on Facebook, we'll have her information below. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.